Hi guys, just doing a quick video just regarding the Fanatec Universal Hub for the Xbox One. If you've got this for Christmas and you're looking at doing a bit of project cars, just run through a few settings on the wheel that you might want to change. And going in, if you just press this button on the top for tuning, and this shows you've got this is your setups. This is one of 5 setups. So if I'm just using the wheel here, just circling from it, just going left, and it just changes, see as I click. So if you go back to the start, I always go left. And this is for brake force. I've got that set at 80. Drift mode. I've got that set to off. And if you just toggle it, so click left and then just turn the dial, you can see it goes on and off. So I've got that set to off, and that's ABS. Shock, I've got that set to off. Force feedback on 100. This is really important. You want this on 900. The wheel's got a huge rotation. I think it's 1,200 degrees or something like that. Anyway, when you set it to 900, it just means you're not having to turn the wheel a huge amount to get full lock on the wheel. So if you're just using these pedals on the side, just flick through the menus here, and then once you've set this, just press the button on the top, and you can change this. You could change this to, you could go to setup 2 and set it to 560 as well. That's even shorter on the wheel turn. But I think the automatic's I think it's about 1,200. But the smaller the number, the smaller the degree of rotation on the wheel to get full lock. So anyway, we've gone to options. Just clicking on this button. Oh yeah, I'm still in the menu here. Yeah, so set that to 900 and then press the button on the top to finish, and then you can move around on the screen. So just going into control, and then we're going to calibrate the wheel here. I can't actually get that far back, but yeah, so when we come down to wheel calibration and we click on this, and it asks us to do a full rotation to, I always say to the left, so we do the full wheel, rotate it to the left until it gets to maximum up here, which is 900. Up, yeah, and then press the button. Coming all the way back, and then just a half turn. It doesn't matter if it's not exact, just what feels about halfway, and click it, and then press save. So say if you saw the number of turns that I got on the wheel there, but if we change this now, a lot of people say 900, but some cars in project cars work much better with this all the way down at 560, and you'll see why when I calibrate the wheel again. So if we just do calibrate wheel again, and if you watch the degree of rotation now, so it's not quite a full turn. So we come back and what we got at half lock, it doesn't need to be exact, as long as it feels about halfway. And then just back to the centre and press X. So that's a much shorter wheel turn. And for me, that's been working far better than 900. But for some cars, you're going to need 900, so just play around with it a little bit. I'll show you my setup as well while I'm here. Steering sensitivity, it says at the top here, set that to 50 if you want it to be comparable to how much you're turning the wheel. I tell you, if you set it at 0, try and turn the wheel, it'll feel like you've done nothing. Brake sensitivity, I'm quite sensitive on my brake, and everything else doesn't matter, but generally I'd keep the damper saturation. I don't know why, I've seen a few videos where they recommend keeping it below 10. Whether it makes any difference if you're using a wheel, I've got no idea. How I've got my wheel set up. I don't use a rear view, I just use Y for the pit speed limiter. I just use my rear view mirrors for rear view. Nothing on there because we just haven't got anything. And then cycling. This is probably the most important one, the heads up display. You press down on that and then you can choose to select to come into the pit, or you can adjust your ABS and stuff like that. So just one more click and this is where it all happens. If you're using a Fanatec, any Fanatec equipment really, should be on raw. Informative is supposed to be quite good as well, but I think that takes a few laps for it to work everything out, but generally I use it on raw. Again, it's at 100, volume at 50, and that depends what car you're driving. This is the most adjusted section in my control section really. I might have this all the way down at 25, 20 sometimes for some cars if the steering feels too heavy, and for lighter vehicles, like the Radical that's in the currently one of the competition things, the wheel just seems so light set down here, so I've just cranked it up a little bit for what I was doing yesterday. Tone, I want to feel 100% almost what the tyres are doing, how much they're slipping, so generally I have this up at 90 as opposed to feeling what the track feels like. And effects, usually I have this between 50, 55, 60, something like that, and this one generally doesn't make any difference to what you've got the wheel set at. And that's that. So in a menu you get this happens, the wheel really doesn't turn, but I'll just go into a quick test or something. This was one that I was doing yesterday. Glen. I'm getting about 135, 6, 135, 6, something like that. 136s. I think you'd need to spend quite a bit of time setting the car up. But the Nissan it suffers with understeer terribly. But it feels far better with the wheel set at 560 than 900. It just reduces the understeer. So I'm just going to show you an example now. What happens with the wheel when you're out on track.